Folks, Kilt-Man here, Kilt-Man, at your service, and for the first time ever, appearing behind the chair. Which means there must be something spooky and strange afoot. But don't worry, I've got my mug of tea, I've got my kilt, I've got my Snake Plissken top on. So what could go wrong? Right, folks, I've had a lot of response to the video I did about the spooks and the weirdness that happens in Kilt-Mansion. A lot of people on Facebook, a lot of people who live by me, they're tenants on my land, who were saying, you know, similar experiences, and they're just fascinated by what's going on here. And well, as I did say, I only kind of skimmed the surface of what's been going on. It's been going on for years, but in a weird sort of way, I did that video because I was getting that weird sort of noise in here, in this kitchen, which made me jump every single time. Now, I'll be honest, that hasn't happened since I mentioned that. But, what was that there? But, more things have happened since I did that video. It was only 2 days ago. And Mrs. Kilt-Man said, it's because, you know, it's because you annoyed it, you've talked about it, and now it's more vocal, it's more, you know, it's upped its campaign. No, I was doing the video because things were happening anyway, but things have happened since, and I'll just outline a couple of them, because that night I woke up at 2:20. I know it was 2:20 because I woke up and I looked, and the weird thing was I've been having dreams, and I wasn't sure, you know, when you wake up in that sort of reverie. Here's the perfect music for it. Charles Bernstein scored to The Entity, yes, or The Entity as teenage boys like to call it. You know why. I heard noises like downstairs in the house. Now, I immediately checked it in the darkness. The dog was there, the husky. She was lying beside my side of the bed, so there wasn't her doing it. And but it was a noise that immediately agitated me. Made me think, there's somebody in the house. But Kilt-Man's prepared for these things. He reached under the bed, he pulls out a weapon. I ain't saying which one it is, but you know, there's a variety. And I then proceeded to investigate the house, and there was nothing there, of course. I mean, you knew that already, there was nothing there. And then went back to bed, but I heard noises again. Now, yeah, it's an old house, there's creaks, there's groans, the house settles. Of course it does. But after the many years of living here, I'm kind of used to the sounds that it makes normally. These weren't normal noises. These were noises like, I've said to people in work, like someone was doing something, dragging something across the surface, like a worktop or whatever, opening a drawer and shutting it, but quite forcefully, so it grated. Very deliberate sounding noises of an action. Got up again, checked again. Not there. Anyway, cut to that morning. A bit of unbroken sleep there, but I did drift off again. Mrs. Kilt-Man gets up before me, because Kilt-Man needs his beauty sleep, and she takes Kilt-Daughter to school. But she went downstairs and she made a cup of tea, and she brought something very similar to this. Brought that up to me. Oh, thank you, hon. And then she proceeded to get dressed. I watched. Nothing sinister about that, is there? And off she went. And then, but she hadn't left the house. And I swung out of bed. Right, time to face the world. Now, when I get out of bed, directly opposite me by the window is what I call the kilt wall. 59 kilts are arranged in none too neat a fashion. It becomes like a bit of a hodgepodge. Like a sloppy built wall of pure tartan, all intermingled. It's like a cliff face of tartan, and I love it. So that was all there. But then, beside that, you've got a wardrobe which goes into the corner. But in front of my side of that wardrobe, beside that, it's all suit jackets and shit. Well, I don't wear suit jackets, you know that. And it's all like old stuff I don't ever wear. There's a great big cardboard box which stands, it's rectangular and it stands about that big. You can't tell how. On my height, about that big off the ground. That's all of 3 foot, by the way. And but it weighs a ton because there's all the photo albums in the bottom of it. But it's also, I've got t-shirts and vests. It's a bit of a sludge pile, really. You know, it needs sorting out. And but it weighs a ton, you know. And the dog lies beside that sometimes. Anyway, I swings out of bed and this great big box full of stuff has not only moved away from the wardrobe, it's swung on a right angle and is now blocking my path to walk down beside the bed. This is hardly fucking, you know, poltergeist, is it? I know. It isn't chairs all stacked up on the kitchen table. I know. It isn't things moving across the floor. I know. But it's still fucking weird. And I looked at it and thought, no way on earth. So because Mrs. Kilt-Man hadn't left at that point, I said, Mrs. Kilty! Mrs. Kilty! Mrs. Kilty! And she rung up and says, What is it? I said, Mum, was that like that before? And she went, no, it wasn't. And because she'd been in there and up before me, and she got dressed on her side of the bed, you know, and all these little details. The kilted boudoir. And she was, it wasn't like that. I said, maybe the dog's kicked it. Well, the dog, a big husky, as you've seen on some of the videos, many of you out there do know the dog in question. He looks just like the dog from The Thing, which just adds an even greater frisson to the freakishness in this house. And no way could she have moved that with. She's a powerful dog, but you just couldn't. You couldn't move that out and turn it and move it down. It just couldn't happen. Anyway, push that back. But they're the latest things that have happened. But people have been asking, you know, well, what else? Well, I did skim the surface last time, and there's a lot of things which took place here. I have movie posters on pretty much every wall. Well, there's no fucking denying that, is there? This is the kitchen. But we have several landings in the house. It's a big house. It's the thing. It's the thing scraping through her bowls right now. I'm trying to find little morsels which is welded on. She'll get them. A posters on every wall and several landings. Now, when you go up the main flight of stairs and you go up a little landing, the house stairs turn a corner and go up to another landing. But my daughter's room is right down the far end, which should be above this area here. And up there, I should say. And it overlooks the cemetery. Yes, the cemetery. Yes, we have a great big cemetery just there. I know. Brilliant, isn't it? You couldn't ask for more, being a horror-goreum. And so it's like, this is literally spook central. They're obviously moving through here all the time when they go shopping, you know. Anyway. And all the way down that landing, there's great posters on the wall. There was a lot of original Gladiator 1 sheets. What else was there? Brother of the Wolf. Oh God, all this stuff like Lord of the Rings posters. And all like American 1 sheets these were. I've got the quads, the British quads, which are even better, of course. They're everywhere else. But they're all aligned like that. Now, I wasn't here for this particular incident. Now, this is weird because most of the phenomena seems to affect or revolve around yours truly. Why might that be? But Mrs. Kilt-Man was here. I was at work, and she heard this noise, and she went upstairs. She went to the foot of the stairs, and it was coming from the upper landing, like Lucy's Kilt daughter's end of the house. And she began to progress up the stairs. And when she got to the first landing, because then you go up another flight of stairs onto that major landing, the first poster, or the furthest poster, right by my daughter's bedroom door, slowly. They're only blue tacked on. I know, the quads are in frames, but the 1 sheets are always just blue tack. They always chop and change them. And it went, and it's got 3 blobs of blue tack at the top, 3 in the middle, 3 at the bottom, yeah? And it went, the top 3 went, bung, 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 unpeeled. Bung, 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 the middle 3, unpeeled. Bung, 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 the bottom 3, unpeeled. And then, in perfect tandem with that, the next poster went bum, 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 bum. And 6 posters unpeeled themselves from the wall, rolled up and lay on the floor. Mrs. Kilt-Man just stood there and watched. Now, this was not summertime where you could go, well, it was hot and, you know, blue tack dries up and loses its stickiness. It wasn't a hot day, it was just a normal day. And she said to me, you know, it was almost as though she was watching someone go bunk, bunk, bunk with the blue tack, bunk, bunk, bunk. It made that noise too, apparently, bunk, bunk, bunk. And just did it in perfect timing. Duh, 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 all the way down. And she said she was too afraid to progress any further onto the landing and put them back up. So when I come out, they were all lying there in disarray. And I was like, oh my gladiator. And she goes, it's the ghost. I was like, okay, fucking leave it. It's fine. Didn't like him anyway. That room has been thought of many times as being where, you know, it all stems from, my daughter's room. When it used to be my study, Kilt-Man here used to write books. He did. Celebrated author. You can't get the books anymore. Sadly out of print. Twisted Tales Volumes 1 and 2, if you can find them. And I also won the Shell Research Prize for Literature, 1999. Yeah, that's another story, literally. And so it was my study in that room, overlooking the cemetery. Perfect for writing horror stories, you know. And but when my daughter came along, you know, she went into that room and I moved out to that room, and I pretty much stopped writing from that point. And we put on the door, you know, Lucy's room, like that. And that was one of them little porcelain, you know, name tag things. Boom, stuck on the door. Now again, this was Mr. Kilt-Man who encountered this. Again, I think I was at work. I certainly wasn't around at the time. She heard this enormous. Isn't it funny, with most of her phenomena, the sound effects, clatter, clatter, clatter. She runs again to the foot of the stairs, proceeds up the stairs. What was that like? Notices that on Lucy's door, well, there is no longer the little sign saying Lucy's room. Instead, it's 30 feet away from the door, right the way down the landing and down the steps onto that first landing. Pretty much where she's standing. How the fuck? I don't know physics. I don't know the laws of propulsion. But anyway, that propelled itself at high speed off that door and clattered all the way down, 30 feet of landing. That takes some doing, I think. Now, I'm not going to swing the camera around, but over there on yonder fridge freezer, there is a huge amalgamation of fridge magnets from when the kids were young. There's a few things of mine. There's a few magnets from The Thing, believe it or not, which are pretty cool. Anyway, we've also noticed that whenever we do sort of, I think I said last time, we do renovations or we do decorations or we just change things around in the house, whatever's lurking in the ether likes to go, hang on a second, I live here too, you didn't ask my permission, so I'm now going to start fucking things about for you. And just to make its presence felt, for about a 2-week period. Well, we had done some stuff. Did you hear that ghostly voice then? Hurry up, I want your breakfast. 2 minutes. And we had got new furniture for her room. I redecorated her room, put new carpets in. And we fully expected, oh well, stuff's gonna happen. Well, stuff did, but in a weird sort of fashion, very akin to the name tag flying off. I just realised again it was Mrs. Kilt-Man. So there's stuff to do with the daughter and reflects upon my wife, the mother, and there's a whole range of things that happens to me. This doesn't involve the kids. Well, doesn't involve the kids too much. Anyway, she's in the kitchen right here, and she had a clatter, another sound effect, like that. Looked around, and an enormous amount of fridge magnets have come flying off all at once from the fridge freezer. So she goes over, but selectively, the only ones that have come off were Lucy's Kilt daughters. You may also notice that there's a bit of a warbling effect on these speakers. You'll be pleased to know that a new sound system is arriving today to take, because these are Antwacky, these are really out there, these are Victorian, you know, computer speakers, shit, but I've had them for years. But they're going to get replaced with an ultra fantastic new glowing sound system, apparently. which the spook will probably fucking nick. You know, they'll disappear into a vortex. But yeah, all these fridge magnets, which were all of just Lucy's, had come off at once. But as she related the story to me, we went, well, it's because we've just done stuff in Lucy's room. That's why it's happened. We also noticed a while ago that if you left, we've got 2 attics, I think I've described that to you. We've got a loft on lower down. Believe it or not, this is from the entity as well. And I'll turn that down a wee bit. So we've got the loft, which is a trapdoor in the wall. And then above that, we've got the, because that goes a different side of the house. Like this side, under the roof. And then we've got, under the main roof, we've got the big attic, which is a big room. Now we've noticed that if you leave that door open, things tend to happen then. Again, over the years you begin to suss these things out. It's not a hard and fast rule, because we have left it open and nothing's happened. But usually when things happen, go and check the attic door. Yes, ma'am. It's fucking open. You know, thinking about it, you know, if the spook can do the light switch thing, it can move the clock, it can hail fridge magnets off, it can unpeel posters, it can thud up and down the landing with its big clanky feet, you know, then obviously, if it wants to, it can open the fucking door on its own. It's not going to sit there, is it, on its little haunted haunches going, I've been boring for ages. They haven't decorated. Well, I want some action. It just opened the fucking door itself. Plus, it can float through the bloody floorboards. As that sidekick girl from round the corner said to me, the one who sussed on that we had a disturbance in the house, as she said, you know, their laws of physics aren't the same. They can do whatever they want. And she maintains it's a female child. And you've got to tell it to stop, you know. And other people are telling me, this is what you do, you know. They will listen to you. Tell them to stop. I don't know. Part of me likes this. I've only been on edge a couple of times, you know. The light switch thing I told you about, that freaked me out. The footsteps freaked me out. And I was a little bit freaked out with the noises the other night. We've also had a baby crying. Now I know, I'm not making any of this up. And this is what my daughter came, I woke up in the night hearing a baby crying. And I met my daughter on her landing and she went, can you hear that baby crying? And I went, yeah. And we listened and I went, oh, it's finally next door, behind me that way. Because we're semi-detached. So we're joined to that house there. And their kids are grown up, but they occasionally have a granddaughter or a grandchild staying over with them. Anyway, we listened at the wall, because that's where the bedrooms would be. And you could hear the crying again, but it wasn't coming from there. It was coming from inside our house, or so it seemed. I don't know, folks, I just don't know. But I do know that once again, I've let my tea go cold. That's me, yakety yak, yak. Once again, there are other things, but you know, I'm just giving a resume. Things have happened in the last 24 hours, you know, with the box moving and all that, right? So, and the noises in the night. That's weird. So let's just see what happens now. Now I've confronted it yet again and announced its exploits. Let's see what it does. It'd be great if I could capture something on camera, but people never can. And I'll finish with a little disclaimer. Ghosts don't hurt anyone. When have you ever heard of a ghost killing somebody? You see it in the movies, you know, like in The Entity, it's raping someone. But in Poltergeist, you know, the big face comes through, rah, you know, like, and people are abducted into like the netherworld, you know, limbo, you know. They don't. In reality, they don't hurt anyone. They just lift things, throw things, make noises, just make their presence felt. So, folks, don't give ghosts a hard time because they just want to be loved as well. Did you hear that? I love you. I love you. And you always look up as well. I think if we had a basement, I'd probably look down. Yeah, I love you too. You'd look down, wouldn't you? Because we have an attic and it's a big attic. Lots of bits and bobs and corners and nooks and crannies. It's awesome. One day, my studio, where you see these videos, will be up there when I finally get around to doing it. Imagine if I renovate that room, all hell's going to break loose, isn't it? Listen to this. fucking electrifying, this. He does these glacial moments, pre-attack, and then he goes into the attack mode. Charles Bernstein, the composer I'm talking about here. Listen, pitch-bending synth. Anyway, folks, Mrs. Kilt-Man wants her breakfast, so in the meantime, and the in-between time, keep your eyes and ears open, because you never know what's around. Be nice to the spirits, and they'll be nice to you, by which I mean whiskey. I'm going to see you all later. They're here.